disaster must come. At best, only postponed. Shaolin Kung Fu, to survive, must now be taught to more young men.
Welcome into another episode of Fist Kicks and Flicks. As you can tell, our mighty captain, Eugene, he's out doing the wedding thing for the next couple of weeks. So today you got Mighty Joe and Big Dog Angel. How we doing, Angel?
What's good, brother? How you doing?
All right. As always, we're part of the Martial Arts Center Network. I'm not going to get into everything else because that's Gene's thing. We're going to jump right into this, man. How are you and how have you been?
I'm doing good, man. Honestly, I've just been busy, man. Just a lot of things going on in life. So just trying to no, man. I feel like I said this to my girlfriend the other day. I feel like every time it gets to like May, and I don't know if it's be work related or if it's just like life related. Like it seems like I'm always like confused. Like I don't know what week it is, what day it is. Like it goes by fast, it goes by slow. Like I don't know what it is. Like I'm always this time of the year, every year is always like my hardest. Like I don't really know what's going on. Like one of my hardest times. And you would think it'll be easier because school is ending, but like I don't know. So it's that's really what's going on. Outside of that, really just just chilling, kind of getting some rest days in, kind of just relaxing, and then kind of just looking forward to the end of this year. So that's really it.
Good, man. You know, I've already said like May is my craziest month, and because of school, like I found out last year, because last year was really my wife's first time in the the Walled Lake School District, so she's right up the road. So she shuts down her classroom, in a couple of weeks. I think 3 weeks because like June 7th.
Okay.
So last year I said this on the podcast. I think last year I dropped the ball. Like I didn't know what to expect, and like she was looking for my help, and I was crabby about it and everything. She already warned me since last year that's not gonna happen. This year you're gonna be there, open arms, full support. And I said, no, I got you back. I got you. I get it. I don't make the same mistake twice too often. So, but yeah, May is just crazy. So just starting this last week, man. Thursday was my birthday, right? You think, I take off of work maybe, and all that. I did. I took off work, but I didn't take off work because it was my birthday. I took off work because I needed to help out with the family. The family had a half day. My wife had a meeting in the morning. So I had some running around to do in the morning. My son needed extra stuff for his play because his opening day was the same day. So like okay. I spent the whole day running around. That's dad life, no problem. Got to his play, started at 7:00. Let me tell you, man, he did this is his first time really on his own without his sister. And he did in his bio, and I thought for sure my wife did this, he gave props to his sister. He said,
really?
I want to thank yeah. I was laughing. I kept making fun of him because I was like, oh, you love your sister. Look at you. And because she is the one who technically got him into the whole acting thing. She did a couple of plays, and then he would go to the plays, and then he was like, oh, how do you do all that? And then he started joining her, and this is his first big role. And he was the third from the pecking order of who had like the most stage time and the most lines. So, and I didn't realize his role was that big, but he was awesome. On stage. Yeah, it was really fun. Him and his buddy did the role together. They were on stage. They had a dance number, 19 lines. They were a little humorous at times, and it was fun. They had a good time. He did great. He remembered all his lines, hit all his marks. So it was a lot of fun. A lot of work, though. I'm telling you, these kids put in some real good work.
Hey, man, I say it all the time. I give people that do theater a lot of props, man. I feel like that's something I'll be too afraid to like dabble into. So I give them a lot of props.
When I watch the process of it, I'm like, it is a grueling process. Because on top of all that, so the other stuff I did, I took my daughter to an audition, and her and I together, my wife kind of had an idea, but kind of learning that this business, like if this is something you want to do for life, there's a lot of ups and downs that go with it. Because it was a really long audition, and it wasn't very promising. A lot of things went wrong, and she's had a couple of little bit of rejection in the past, and I just didn't want it to get her down, but I didn't want to get in her head, so I didn't really like know what to say to her. So
Mhm.
I told her, I don't want to say too much because I don't want to mess you up, but I want you to know that no matter what happens, we love you. Go out there, break a leg, do the best you can. And you know what? The worst that can happen is you don't get it, you move on to the next thing. Wasn't meant to be. And she did. She did exactly that. She was like, "Well, if I get something out of this, Dad, I'll be lucky. But other than that, like moving on." So I think her biggest and best roles coming. It just might, be a little bit down the road.
It's like in karate, right? Like they all say like you're in the process. So that's what she's in. She's in the process, man.
Hey man,
She's in the process.
Mr. Plowden says the best: 24 hours for a win, 24 hours for a loss.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
if you understand that, you're ahead of the game.
Absolutely.
On top of that, man, like, so I did the birthday thing. Friday I went out and I did go to Mike's, Mr. Gibbs, Mike
How was
Gibbs,
it?
G Money, wrestling. Didn't get to stay till the end, but let me tell you something. I went to his very first show. It was in Flint, and it was at an ice arena, and it was a decent show. This one is in Waterford, so one, it was already closer, and this venue was very, very nice. He had a good venue. Instead of putting us behind a fence like he did for General Admission in Flint
Yep.
and in the risers, he had chairs all around, and I was right next to the ring, even though I wasn't VIP. So it was fun. It was a good time. The wrestlers are coming in through the crowd. A lot of talking, a lot of good matches. Um, they had a lucha libre, one after another. I forget what they like a Royal Rumble almost. Just
Royal
one guy
Rumble?
came out. Well, I guess it wasn't a Royal Rumble because it was two guys would wrestle. The winner would take on the next guy and the next guy and the next guy. So
Was there like an Iron Man match or no?
it was like just a consecutive. They called it something else, but he
Mm.
started the show with what he called the Money Rumble, and the winner of that, who by the way was G Money,
Mm.
was the number one contender to take on the champ. And then
That's
he was
awesome,
cracking
man.
me up because he kept texting me through the show, like, "What do you want to happen here? What do you like think about this? What do you?" I'm like, "You haven't even finished writing the show." He's like, "Man, I can do what I want. I do this whole thing," and he does. He runs everything. He was a wrestler. He was a manager. He was. He came out and talked before. He gave me props and everybody in the audience that he knew props just for bringing him up, and he got emotional. It was a really good time. And then
Bro,
I brought my
good for
daughter with
Mike,
me.
man.
I
Oh,
brought my oldest with me, and she'd never been to anything like that. And she had a good time. And like I said, she didn't even know what was going on. And she was like, "Oh, like move over here, Dad. You can see better." And she was getting into it. So yeah,
hey,
we had
so
a great time.
let me ask you something now. So with your kids being very well versed in acting and in theater, you think could you see if one of them would like to do wrestling?
I think my son would love that. He likes to ham it up and really enjoy himself. And he's
Yeah.
got a lot of energy like that. And he could find some kind of character to come up with, and he would
Yeah.
probably kill it,
Yeah, I just
honestly,
said because
because
you could match the acting with a physical portion, and you never know, man. Like that could be someone's niche.
it was funny because that's what my daughter and I were saying afterwards. We were like, I should have known you would have liked this. It's basically acting with more flair to it, in
Yeah.
theatrics. It was a good they put on a good show, and I didn't even get to stay for the whole thing, and I enjoyed, all the matches I saw. He had like an intermission, and everyone was taking pictures and lining up for that, and they had all kinds of snacks and everything. It was really well put together. So
That's
I had a good
awesome,
time
dude.
with that, and that was kind of my gift to myself because I kept telling her I was going to come out, but I just so busy all the time. So I was glad I got to do that. And
That's
then
awesome.
Saturday was pretty much chill, and then Sunday, celebrated Mother's Day. I took, I worked that day, but I still came home, took care of Mama, took care of my mom. We had a good time.
Oh,
We had some dinner. And then my wife found this place close by, and they did these bubble waffle cones. So it's a big waffle, wrapped around in a cup for like a cone. And it was like, I don't even know how they did it, but the shape of it was like a big Lego almost, like the bubble. And then, they put your ice cream and your toppings and everything together. So that was a little treat for everybody, but that was a good time. But that place was busy. Oh my, I think we waited like 40 minutes for that.
Wow. Also, let me just throw out there, Happy Mother's Day, belated Mother's Day to all the females out there, all the moms out there. You guys are rock
Yeah.
stars. We can never thank you guys enough. Also, I forgot to say this. Today was my mom's birthday, so happy birthday to my mother. I forgot to say that part. Yes. So
Fantastic,
make
man.
sure I say that. So yeah.
And Mother's Day, the 12th, was also my sister's birthday. So we get, like I said, I do my anniversary on the 5th, my birthday on the 9th, my sister's birthday, and it's always one of those birthdays always falls around Mother's Day. Then my son's birthday is on Saturday. What we are also next week, we're doing Comic-Con next week. So again, busy. And then my wife the following week has an art show all next week to finish off the year. And she's actually has to get a sub for 3 of those days. So I got to play Mr.
Yeah.
Mom
I remember you were telling
pretty
me
much
that.
at home for most of the week. So I'm just like, oh man, at the end of this month, I'm just going to need a nap. And then everyone's home. Help her clean out her class. Everyone's home. And then I can just go to work, come home and chill. Because let me tell you, man, coming home from work is always a chore because I got to go. I don't just get to go home. I got to go wait in a carpool line and pick up my kids. And I'm telling you, I have been in that carpool line sometimes. I put the car in park and I'll take a 10-minute nap sometimes because I'm tired.
I don't blame
I
you,
need
dude.
a
I'll do
I
the
need
same
a
thing.
coffee. I got the air going. I'm like, oh man, you get a little beep. Wake up, buddy.
Yeah.
Like,
I would
I'm
do the
like,
same
oh,
thing. I don't blame you.
what? Where am I? So
But
so I
but
just
those little 10-minute naps, you feel regenerated. You feel like a new person. So
I'm telling you, I do. Cause and then my kids will be texting me like, where are you? I'm just like, I'm at the end of the line, man. You're just gonna have to wait. It's not gonna be
yeah.
that long. Chill. And yeah, man, that's pretty much been the week. And we've
Cool.
just been trying to get through it, and everyone's just ready for summer vacation.
Yeah.
And I
No,
know
they are.
y'all are ready. See, I'm so jealous of that. If I could like deal with school, I'm not a big school person. I think I would try to go just be a teacher. I don't even know what I would
Listen,
teach, but
listen. It's something, man. Teaching is an interesting and difficult position to be in.
I
Trust
think
me.
every teacher can write a book because the stuff that y'all come
It's,
home, like the stories that can be told, it's
it's crazy.
amazing. The stuff
It's
that,
just
and I,
crazy.
like I know it's worse in other places, man. Some of the stuff I hear
Yeah.
in other places, like my
Yeah.
wife, her greatest, craziest stories come from kindergarten and from her ASD classes.
Yep.
Like, and I'm like, and I just go to her. I'm like, you have the patience of a saint. Because some of the stuff that like I don't even know what I would do with one of this. Like I don't I
Tough.
really
It's
don't.
tough.
I'd be like, maybe you just need to go to the principal's office because I can't deal with you right now.
Yeah. It's tough,
But you
man.
can't do that
It's
because
tough.
you'd have the whole class in the principal's office.
It's tough, man. Trust me. It's tough.
Yeah.
So
You know what I see? You know what I guarantee this is what she does. And I know this is how she handles it, so I'd probably do the same thing. She just gets her mom voice. Because most of her kids are just like dealing with my son. My son's about to be 12 years old. He's a little mouthy sometimes, and he's a little hyper. So she does. She'll tell some of these kids, she'll be like, I got one of you at home. Like,
yeah.
you can't phase me. Yes, he talks exactly like you. He says crazy stuff just like you. He mouths off to me just like you. Like, you can't, there's nothing you could do to phase me because I deal with this every day of my life.
Yeah, and that's what it is, man. It's just dealing with that. That's really the hardest thing.
Yeah, you got it hard because you're high school, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I could I think to me, I could do elementary or high school because I can live in both of those worlds. But that
Hmm.
junior high school, man, I give anybody does that props. Because I had my hardest time and I was a decent student, but I had a hard time in that 7th, 8th grade. So
Never catch me there, bro.
I know, right? That to me, the like you really have to have a special person to do some of those grades. So I think that would be amazing.
Yeah.
All right, so I was talking. We were kind of pre-showing this a little bit,
Hmm.
and I really have thought about this a lot because I've seen wonders. So a family member of mine made a post. I think it was actually yesterday, and it basically was asking for help. Anybody had any kind of help with a friend of theirs who's severe ADHD, and they were
Okay.
looking for like counseling, activities, anything anybody can come up with. And a lot of people were posting therapy. And her big thing was, and I'm a huge component of this. No meds. I don't think that. I think that there's too much of the world that is on, and this is just my opinion, that is on, Ritalin and God knows what else that doesn't need to be. Maybe 2% of the population needs to be, and I'm sure they have it at more like 60%, and that's crazy. So to me, my question is, do you think there is a good correlation between martial arts and ADHD, ADD? Like, have you seen good things with, because I'm sure you come across a lot of your students with it, and I've seen it, and when I'm teaching, a lot of it can help with something like that.
So you talking about in a school setting or in my karate school setting? Which one?
I'd say karate school because the school you can't really go full martial arts instructor in school. I mean, you could try,
Um,
but good luck.
yeah, yeah, you won't be there long. Um, so I think, yeah, I think it does. I think when it comes to ADHD and um, different forms of I don't want to say disability, but different forms of an accommodation, right? I
Yeah,
think having martial arts is actually a good thing, and I would say martial arts itself, um, or anything that is requiring you to have discipline, focus, and structure within that activity, right? So I think that's where martial arts becomes very, very useful for kids that need an accommodation in those senses, right? Because
yeah,
now with that, we are so focused on in our classes, right? We teach a general class to the white belts. We're not having it so segmented by, ability. So now
yeah.
within that class, there is going to be focus, there is going to be discipline, there's going to be structure. And those kids get exposed to other kids that they may not be exposed to in their actual schools, right? So now
Yep.
they're learning how to, and I don't want to say fit in because that's not the right word, but they're learning how to interact socially and non-verbally within a general population pool that in other ways in their actual school setting they may actually be segmented and they may not be in the same population class group, right? So I think that's where martial arts becomes really helpful for people like that, because now you're allowing structure, discipline, and focus to be used. And who knows, you could spark a kid's passion. Maybe they find out that they're very useful with their hands. They're very tactile. They
Yeah.
they need to do things that are tangible. And now with you doing that, that gives them a path and gives them a road for their future where they can maybe do jobs and have stuff in the future that is more tactile and tangible, and they're allowed to be successful in those ways. So I think having it in the martial arts, I think it's a very, very good component. I think it's a huge strength that we have that we don't talk about enough. I feel like we don't
I
talk about that
agree.
enough, and that's a huge strength that we possess that maybe other sports don't have.
Yes. Well, and see, you hit on most of what I feel. So to me, when you think of ADD, ADHD, the biggest issue is, the mind wanders. The mind is always moving. The mind has trouble stopping and thinking about one thing. That's always here, 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 here. What does martial arts do? We start off a class and we end a class, most of the classes I've done, with meditation.
Yep.
Okay. So, what is meditation? Meditation is a chance for us to clear our minds and get ready to take on, what is our task for the day. When I do meditation, I tell everyone, breathe in through your nose, breathe out through your mouth. And then I tell them, clear your minds, focus, and get ready to do, are we going to do this? Are we going to do that? Then, starting as a white belt, what do? we give you task A, B, C, D. Okay, what does ADHD have a little trouble? And this is all just my opinion. I don't want to trigger anybody. I just, I see a correlation. You get a task, and it's a beginner task because you are a white belt, yellow belt, maybe to orange belt, you're a beginner. So the tasks are just small. And then we work our way up to intermediate, and we give you more tasks. And now you're learning to be can I take on more? Of course I can, because it's all at your own pace. And like you said, structure, task oriented, discipline, and focus. These are all the tools to me that someone who has trouble with all those things can use through martial arts. And then what is the payout? The payout is, yes, I get a new belt, but you're also exercising. So now you got endorphins, okay? And those are running through your mind. So now you're technically through that, you're changing your mindset to try and focus more and less about, what's over here, what's over there, what's over there, what's over there, because we're teaching you discipline, facing forward, standing straight up, try not to move around a bunch. You know what I'm saying? And I've seen where from white belt, if they make it all the way to black belt, most of these people who could never stand still as a white belt, they're your best students. They stand perfectly still. They become uh, a very goal oriented, and they want to get that next belt, and they want to move on. They want to do better at the tournaments. And to me, have you conquered ADHD? No, but you found a way to wrangle it, wrestle it down, and help yourself to achieve more through it and to live
Yeah.
with it the same way you would do most any other thing. So to me, I find it to be a great tool. And I do
Yeah.
wonder if anyone, I meant to look up if there's any tests that have been done in correlation with that.
I'm sure there has, and I remember when I was in college, I had to do some surveys and I had to do some case studies on it, on just what can help students with certain accommodations and how can you best suit them. So it's called differentiation in my practice, and in my field, it's called
Okay.
differentiation. Differentiation instruction is geared more towards students that have accommodations that you need to that may have to have graphic organizers, task oriented goals. So there is like studies on that. And I think one thing I will, just to add on to that, before we move on to the next topic, would be I start all my classes in my school, especially my beginner classes. I start all of them after we get done doing our warm up. I sit them down to catch their breath, and as they're catching their breath, I give them our objective for the day. So what's our objective? What's our
Yes.
karate objective, and what's our physical goal objective? Because I strongly believe that you need to be physically healthy. You need to be in good shape and be able to have functional body weight strength, to be able to do certain things, to have mobility, to have
Yep.
agility in all that sense. But then I also give them what's our karate goal. So if our karate goal is we want to perfect our roundhouse today, we're going to learn our second form in our system. What is it that we're going to do? So I like to utilize that, but it also can be used for students with accommodations where it now gears their mind towards the goal. So now we're focusing in on what is our goal and are we going to hit that goal by the end of class, yes or no. And then it also just gives everybody a direction, right? Without a map we're all lost, so I think you're able to give everyone that sense of direction to keep moving forward. So yeah, I
Yeah.
think we're pretty spot on with that, and I think it does help. And for the people out there that are watching this, listening in the comments, whether it be YouTube, Patreon, whether it be Spotify, Apple Podcasts, however you get our podcast, drop a comment. Don't put it in on Facebook. Let us know what you guys think, because this is something that I actually think is important, that I think we don't talk about enough in our field,
I
and
agree.
especially in martial arts. In the martial arts industry, I think it's not talked about enough, and I think it should be.
I 100% agree because I do know for a fact, like Kids Kicking Cancer, the Detroit Children's Hospital did do a study for a whole year using Kids Kicking Cancer's methods of meditation, and then they do no contact martial arts. So kicking, punching, maybe a form here and there, no sparring, no one steps, no self defense.
Yeah,
And they did show pain levels. You start a kid who's going through chemotherapy, who's getting poked and prodded every other week, and they showed the difference without the meditation and the martial arts therapy, and then they showed the difference afterwards. And the difference was significant. You know, you got kids who are at a 8, 9, 10, not even using their medicine anymore. They don't
Yeah.
even need pain medication. They don't need someone to, you know, 2 or 3 nurses or doctors to hold them down to be, you know, poked with a needle. And, you know, their pain levels were coming down significantly from like literally 6, 7, 8 to a 2, 3, maybe even a 1.
That's
So, I
amazing.
mean, yeah. So to me, you know, I just, maybe I'm partial because I've been in this for such a long time, but I really do think that martial arts can help with so many things, and it's just such a great way to bond with other people from across the state. I mean, look at you and I. I've never met you in person, but we've been
That's
doing this
actually,
for all.
you know,
We've literally
that's
been doing
actually
this over
funny.
2 years. You
For
know
all
what
the
I'm saying?
people that think that like we've all seen each other, I've actually never been with Gene or Joe.
I know.
And I
I
think
was
out of
just talking about that
everyone,
the other day.
I think out of everyone, like you guys are the only two I haven't like been like out with, or haven't been in the same room with, or we haven't been at tournaments together or anything. Because Chris been with Seawalk for a minute now, Chav I've been with for a minute now, Jeff been with for a minute now, Alex again a minute, and even Mike Gibbs. Like I got to see Mike Gibbs, and me and Mike Gibbs were shooting it at Warrior Cup one year, and we were just going back and forth with each other, right? So there, I have been able to be with everyone, but as you say, like martial arts provides that bridge, right? That we can now always have a constant communication between each other, and there'll always be a common link to each other. So yeah,
That's what I'm saying, man. Like, it's just, it's very cool. It's very interesting, and even, you know, it's movies. We're talking about our lives now. We're talking about, you know, just things that can help with
yeah,
other areas. So it's fantastic.
no,
You know, it's
definitely,
been one of the greatest things in my life, and that's why I try to share it with anyone that'll listen.
absolutely.
All right, so Universal Soldier Regeneration. I I watched the one that came after this. I don't know how. I think I clicked on what I thought was this one, and it was the one we already watched. And so I just saw Michael Jai White and was like, oh no, that's the wrong one. And so I ended up watching. So I watched both of them today.
Well, what
Luckily, I
makes
had
me
the
laugh is you watched the one after this, and I hate the other one after this. It was like the worst one to me. So
oh, it was
it,
bad.
so it makes me laugh. So when you're like, it sucks, I was like, man, I really thought you guys would have liked this one. This one had a great story. Like it wasn't that bad. So
This one still kind of gave me not as much, but still just gave me a little Terminator vibes. But it
Hey,
was
I
interesting.
think the whole well, so wait, so let's go back for all of our listeners and our fans. So right after we recorded last week, I sent the next day, I was looking online and I saw Michael Jai White did a I think it was like a few months ago. He did a he pretty much talked about Universal Soldier the Return, right? And it was like a 3-minute clip, and everything we said in our whole podcast like week last week, Michael Jai White said it, and like they said it was basically RoboCop. That's what Joe said. He said this was like Terminator. I don't know what I was doing, and he talked about the movie in an honest light, and I think it was hilarious because we all said that last
Yeah,
week,
but
and
what
then
he
it
kind
was
of
spot
dogged
on.
it more than I thought it needed to be dogged. I mean, it was his movie.
No, it wasn't. That's the thing. That's why he doesn't want to get associated because we
No,
said
I'm
it's his
saying
movie.
he still did it. That's all I'm
It was
saying.
one of
Like,
his. It was one of his first. It was, and as like what we talked about, that was his first martial arts movie.
yeah.
So,
Now,
which I thought was
is
interesting.
is this movie after that movie we just watched? Because this one
Yes,
felt like it was
yes,
before.
yes. This one's after. No, this one is after. It took place way after.
Okay, but they didn't reference his child. They didn't reference Luke Devereaux's child or wife or anything,
I don't
and he
I
was
don't
doing
know,
like a reconditioning program.
but yeah, but that I think that's the thing. They were trying to say he's a battered man and he is not the same anymore. I think
But he
without them
seemed
saying it,
perfectly
it was
fine.
implied.
He seemed perfectly fine in the last movie. Like he didn't seem
Yeah,
all
but
erratic
then
like he was in this one.
what I got from this movie was it mentally it took a toll on him doing all this.
Oh, okay.
And that like now he's battling mental demons. This
Okay,
is
so
more of kind of like a
basically,
mental health movie, honestly. If you really want to
I
think about
mean,
it.
in a sense, but this is what's happening. So literally we have like three teams almost, and that's why I say Terminator, because I felt like we had him, Luke Devereaux, the original, was like kind of like the T100s, right? He's
Yep.
the first model. He's, old, but he's still like, he's worth a damn. But, everyone's kind of pushed him aside. Because then you got what they call them, NGUs?
Yes, NGUs.
Okay. And Andrei Arlovsky was like the biggest, baddest NGU. And he was he working for like a terrorist group or something?
Yeah, I don't want to say. I really don't want
maybe
to
a
say what I
radical. I
thought.
think they were calling them radicalists or something like that.
Yeah,
But
which I
basically,
mean, kind of the same.
they're basically saying like a nuke was dropped. There's this radioactive area, and they're trying to save a couple of hostages, and they got another bomb that they're trying to retrieve, and it's
Yeah.
being guarded by this NGU who's under the control of an opposing side. I guess they never really called them like terrorists. I think they called them radicalists, maybe.
Yeah.
Anyhow, and it's the no. I know what they said. It's the son of a terrorist
Okay.
who's controlling the Andrei Arlovsky, and I don't know if they gave him a name. I didn't hear one. And then there's a doctor who's controlling the one that I'm gonna, because that's, to me, he was like the T300, and then Andrew, played by our favorite Russian. Why can't I think of his name? Yeah, Dolph Lundgren. Andrew was like a T200. He's like the middle.
I didn't really like him because they didn't really say how he got back to being alive again.
Yeah, and now the super soldiers that they were creating to try and take out the NGU, were they actual humans that they were upgrading? Because they were putting that chip in, and that chip is used in the next movie.
How you gonna like spoil it for people, bro?
Well, because I mean, who cares? They kind of foreshadow it at the end anyway.
So think about it like this, Joe, because you watched
They were
it
basically
backwards. So
creating super soldiers. They were
think about it.
super
Think
soldiers.
about it as like the chip is them trying to do the Unisoldiers, but like an updated version, like a 2.0. You know what I mean?
Okay, but what I'm saying is the people they were putting the chip in weren't dead.
No, they're using live subjects for it. That's the thing.
That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, they were trying to
So
use like live actual subjects.
Yeah. So they were making
I think that's when,
Unisoldiers
and
out
I
of
think
live.
that's when they said that they would freeze their brain with nitrogen and freeze their body. So like they were freezing them with that process where they would like take over their brain.
That's a lot.
I mean,
But that was
guys, all right. So
causing them not to be able to.
for everyone listening, I know we just said a bunch of craziness, which are probably like, what the heck does that even mean? It's
watch this movie, you'll understand.
Yeah, if you gotta watch it, watch the beginning to understand what's going on. One thing I thought was interesting was so what people don't know is this was one of Van Damme's first movies that he came back with when he started doing movies again. This is one of his first ones. I'll be honest, dude, it was kind of rough looking at him. Because we've always seen the blood sports and kickboxers and all that. So looking at him, I was like,
they wanted him to look older on purpose.
I know.
Because
I don't like that.
In the first couple of movies, he was, young, and he couldn't age because he was technically a robot. And then they talked about how they could bring reanimate a corpse, basically.
Yeah.
And then they were making soldiers. They just keep rolling out these new programs. And the funny thing to me about this was, so the original program was called Black Tower.
Yeah.
And then they scrapped the whole program because one of the facilities, one of the Unisoldiers went crazy and killed 12 people. So then they wiped that program, and then they're like, oh, let's bring this program back, but it's going to be better. And they call it White Tower. Like, it's literally the same deal. It's like Star Wars.
There's so many racial jokes you could make off of that. It's not even worth it. But just
I don't even go there.
Like I just, when I saw it, I was like, come on.
It just makes me laugh because, like, Star Wars, in the first few movies, everything's the Sith. We were fighting the Sith,
yeah.
and then now it's the First Order.
Yeah.
This one's like, oh yeah, the Sith are done, they're gone. But guess what? Now we got the First Order. Don't you want to be a part of that? It's just so funny. It's like
just watching it was interesting. Watching it was interesting, but it was it. I don't know. I feel like in this one, what did you think about the storyline in this one? I feel like the storyline was a little bit more put together than the other movies.
I think the storyline was okay, and I understand what they were trying to do. I think the execution could have been better, but it was just a little too all
I
over the place.
I agree with you with execution, and I agree with you that it was all over the place. I can agree with that. I'll agree with you on that part. I think, and I guess comparing it to the last one we just watched, the storyline was better.
Oh yes, definitely better.
Like it actually had like a whether like how you said execution wasn't there, but you can kind of see the road that they were going for.
Oh, 100%. I knew
Yeah,
exactly where they were going. What I would have just liked to see, and I think there was a lot, they were laying a lot of groundwork, and I think that they could have put a little bit more action. This ended up to me being more like a drama than an action movie because there was only a little bit of action and then a lot of story.
yeah.
And
I
so
think
to me, I would just like to a few more fight scenes. The fight scenes they did have were pretty decent, but it took a while. Like I said, they were so the other before they really got Van Damme's character, Lou Devereaux, involved. He was with a therapist for 2 years, trying to basically domesticate him and
yeah,
bring him back
like
into society.
undo everything that happened.
But then the second that things are going wrong against, and they were referring to, what were they referring to Andre Arlovsky as, like the beast or the freak?
The freak.
And they were basically telling all their top soldiers, their own unit soldiers, if they could, to avoid the freak.
Yeah,
But then they go and hunt down Devereaux, who's basically had his balls chopped off now, as far as being a soldier, and now they want to pump him with all kinds of drugs and a chip and everything else. And this doctor that's been working with them for 2 years is like, listen, to have a dog that does dog fighting, and then to tell that dog no more fighting, and then 2 years later throw him into a fight, you don't know what you're going to get. The dog could just lay down and die, or the dog could kill everybody in the ring.
yeah,
So she was very worried about this, but they basically felt like they had no choice, and they said, he is what he is. He's a killing machine. That's what he knows. That's what he does, and that's basically what they thought. So in the end, the army, the U.S., whatever you want to call it, they get their way. So they pump him up and they give him all his stuff. And the second that he's got like himself back, he tells the lady that he was working with to go to like walk away,
yep,
and he starts beating up and killing everybody,
yeah.
and then they're just
He.
gonna point him towards the enemy.
What did you think about his fight scene with Dolph Lundgren?
Too short, but it was pretty good.
I felt like it was too short. Also, I thought it was really short. Now I didn't know if it was short because of their age or like what, but
I was thinking the
I
same thing.
but I was like, I thought that the way it ended was crazy.
Me too.
Like the fact that, and then he said, "I remember what I had to tell you." That was a like an Easter egg. That was like an Easter egg back at the first movie, right?
Yep.
Yeah, because he said he kept saying he had to tell him something.
Um, I also liked with the with Andre Avlovsky's character. I like the kind of, and I wish I would have given him two. He had that blade like Assassin's Creed,
Yeah.
where you can shoot it out and bring it back. I
Yep.
thought that
Yep.
was
Yep.
fun.
Yep. Yep. I
He did.
thought
He didn't use any guns, did he?
not really. He used a lot of like stand up.
A lot of stand up and a lot of like bladed or blunt objects. I like that
What did
better.
you?
To me, when you got like martial arts people in a movie, just stay away from the guns, man. We don't
Yeah,
need
if
all
I
that.
see an MMA guy, I want to see him do some MMA stuff. You feel me?
Yeah, yeah,
If I see
I
an MMA
agree.
guy, I want to see him do some MMA stuff. I don't want to see him like shooting guns because I just feel like it takes me out of it.
100%. Well, because we want to see the martial arts. I mean, that's technically, what we're here for. And then, you see them start just blowing everyone away. Unless, they're doing it John Wick style where they're gun fu, as they like to call it. Like, it's just, I don't know. It's not as fun.
Yeah, no, I agree with
Pick
you.
up a sword, pick up some nunchucks, man. Let's make it interesting.
It's interesting. I've never seen nunchucks in movies like that unless it's like real karate movies.
Yeah, I know. But they're
It's
so much
that's
fun.
yeah. But
Has
now I'm
anyone
saying
ever
that I've never
used
really seen them.
the triple nunchuck, whatever they call that? I can
What, a
never
three
remember what
section
it's called.
staff?
Yeah, has anyone ever used that in a movie?
Only person I could ever think of. I mean, I'm sure in like kung fu movies, but maybe Darth Maul would count. But without that, no.
Nah, he didn't have it because he had an actual two-bladed.
He
His
had a
is more
bow.
like, yeah, his is more like a bow staff.
Huh.
Longer than a bow staff. It'd probably be hard to swing that thing around without
Have you
some
ever
practice.
seen him? Have you seen the videos of him doing it at the Comic Cons?
Yeah.
It's actually crazy because like you could tell it's like a lot of work for him to control it and maneuver it.
He did like I think he said he did like 6 to 8 weeks training with all that.
Wow.
And I mean that was just to get in. Then they still had to practice all the scenes.
Yeah.
What else was I gonna say about this?
What do you think about the final fight scene with Van Damme and Andrei Arlovsky?
Okay, I was watching this during dinner, but it was pretty good. Better than the fight with Dolph. And I would have liked to seen. To me, like they're both, hard to kill. So, you can really they could have played that out a lot, but it was pretty good. There's a lot going on. The ending to this movie, it makes more sense to me now that I've watched the other movie. But the other movie to me is so confusing what is going on
The other
until
one,
the
the
end.
last one?
Yeah, until the end.
Yeah. So for me, I thought the fight scene with Andrei Arlovsky was really good. I enjoyed it. I thought it was good fighting. I think it's interesting to see Van Damme not throwing as many kicks. So I think that kind of like throws me off a little bit. But I like the fact that they use Andre's MMA background
Yeah.
and they really let him
Well,
like,
they made him
build it.
faster, and I think for this they were trying to keep it more as yes, they're supposed to be like people, but they're still robots. So maybe that's why it was less of the kicking and punching and more just like a straight up
Yeah.
fight.
Yeah,
But
which I can understand. So I think, but outside of that, I thought it was a good fight scene. I thought, it's like every, thing about opera, theater, anything. It's like, the build up, the climax to the big bad, final face off, the big boss, right?
yeah,
So I thought it was good in that. I thought it was good in that sense. I thought the way he died, I didn't really like it.
no, I agree with that. I thought it was a little, I don't know,
I
it
felt
was a
like
little
that was a
crazy,
cop out. I just felt
huge
like that was
cop.
a cop out. Yeah, and I feel like that was just because they were making it seem like Van Damme couldn't beat him hand to hand because of age or whatever it would be.
Did that in the last one, remember? Because once he
I
was
know.
fighting the perfect weapon, it was like he just
Yeah,
could only freeze him and blow him away.
yeah. So it was just stuff like that. But yeah. So like in that sense, I thought the final fight scene was pretty good.
But I mean, what is because as these movies keep going and they keep upgrading these damn things, I mean, they do make them harder and harder to kill.
I don't understand. Like I'm a turn. I don't understand the last one at all. I don't understand the last one. I don't even know how
Oh,
Dolph Lundgren made himself back into the movie.
there's a lot to unpack in the last one.
Like he I don't know how Dolph Lundgren made himself back in the last movie, so I don't understand it. But yeah, I mean that's gonna be an interesting one to dissect. I don't know what we're gonna do. I'm gonna be confused the whole time. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. That's a tough one to dissect. So
I think this one wouldn't have been so bad, but I'm really mad that Gene's not gonna be here to do the other one.
yeah, the other one, Gene
I
would lose his
guarantee
mind.
the second he watches that one, he's gonna be like, "What
Gene
in
would
the
lose his mind.
world
Yeah,
is
Gene would lose his
this?"
mind. What do you have a grade for this one?
Yeah, I mean, Gene already told us D minus. I was looking around a D. I had some problems with this one. Overall, I mean, it wasn't terrible.
What was your problems that gave it a D? I wouldn't think it was gonna be D.
It's too much. Too like I said, if it was, I need more fight scenes, man. There was just too
Okay.
much more like a. In fact, on the it said, I think it said thriller on the
Okay.
thing. Like, I'm
Okay.
looking for some more, some more action. I feel like they saved all the action just for like the end of the movie.
Yeah.
And when I'm watching a movie that I want to see a lot of good fight scenes. I want to see leading up to that.
Yeah.
We want to really see a little bit more martial arts.
I agree with you.
But
I agree with you.
yeah, I
I
didn't
was gonna
hate
say
it,
C
but
minus. I was gonna say
see, and
C
I gave the
minus.
last one. I think I gave the last one a C minus or a C plus.
Yeah,
So I
you
feel
did.
like a
Yeah,
D
you did.
is I think a D is okay. I
Okay.
don't know what I'm gonna give the last one. So
Dude, man, I still till this day I still don't understand the last one at all. I still
I'll
don't
rewatch
understand
it
it.
again, but there's a lot to unpack in that one, and
Yeah.
should be interesting.
Nah, definitely.
Overall, I mean, how many of these did they actually make?
The next one's the last one.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I swear I was seeing like 6 more.
Don't do
Maybe they
that.
were
Don't
just
do that.
something
Don't
different.
do that. Don't do that. Don't do
I'm
that.
not saying I'm
I'm
looking
not doing
to.
anything. I'm not doing anything after the last one. After this next one, I'm not doing anything else. You got me
Well,
stuck there. You got me stuck there because I'm not. If I don't understand that one, what else am I? What else is there for me to understand?
that's a good question. To me, down the road, because I did mention this, and I think it without Gene being here and maybe having someone take his place.
Yeah,
Have you seen Jim Cotta?
not yet.
Because I don't think Gene's gonna like it. You might be okay with it. So
I don't know,
I
man.
think this might be a perfect time.
Just the name of it just makes me go like, ugh.
Well, it's a different kind of movie, but it's fun and it's a classic.
Oh,
So it's one of
great.
those that I feel like we have to kind of watch.
I never heard of it before.
Yeah, it's on Amazon right now.
All
Jeff and
right,
Mike and I were talking about it recently, so
all
I
right.
kind of forgot about it, and it was requested a while ago online as one of the ones. And actually, I think Seawalk said something about it before too.
Okay.
If I do
All right.
remember, I think he might have suggested it as something we check out. Don't worry, man. I would, it's not that bad. It's entertaining, as anything else can be.
Okay.
Um, I keep seeing it come up, and I didn't get a chance to see because it's in theaters. That
Hmm.
Boy Kills World. Is there a link to sports martial arts for that one? Because Black Belt Magazine was covering it
I don't even know
online,
what
so
you're
I didn't
talking
know.
about. Now I gotta go look it up.
Okay, Boy Kills World.
Huh.
It looked like it has some martial arts side to it. It's basically it looks like a younger kid. He's kind of something or someone pisses him off and basically just going around and getting revenge for everybody. And then
Boy Kills World. That's what you said.
I think that's what it's called. Yeah, Boy Kills World, something like that. I just
All right.
remember about a month ago, maybe or less, seeing Black Belt magazine online
I
mention
gotta
about
look
it. So
into it.
I meant to ask before if it had any ties to the sports martial arts world because
No, I'm
I
gonna have
didn't
to look
know
into it.
any other
I have no
reason,
idea.
or if they were just something that they felt to cover because it had some martial arts to it.
No, I don't. I wouldn't know. So I'll have to look into it.
All right, I was curious about that.
Alrighty then. Hey man. Well. So listen up, everybody. You're gonna start seeing me and Joe on here a lot more. You're gonna start seeing some special guests coming in every once in a while, or it may just be us two. Um, so as Gene, gets on track after the wedding and gets everything on set, he'll be back soon. But in the meantime, you guys got any movie suggestions? Let us know.
Yeah, I'm always
Because
looking
man,
for. Don't give
because
us some bull
man,
crap that you just want us to watch to make us cry. Because let me tell you, man, we'll
that's what
do
I
it,
feel
but I'm
like.
gonna tear it apart and I'm gonna hurt your feelings.
I feel like that's Jeff. So that's why we'll see. Well, I can't wait. But
Like this has been suggested before, and I will do it. for the podcast, but I can't stand it. It's Kung Pao. And I like
the
the
one where
director.
he
I
has
like
the
the
hamsters.
director.
Oh, I don't like Kung Pao.
I know the dude. His tongue talks. He's there's a cow.
Yo,
Like I like the director. I like everything else the director does. Shaolin Soccer, Kung Fu
that was a good
Hustle.
one.
Kung Fu Hustle is like this. The director is great, but I could not get into that movie. But my best friend likes it. My father-in-law likes it, and I'm just like, oh, Stephen Chow, you're killing me.
I
I
remember his tongue. His tongue talks. It has like little eyes in a mouth. But
so I mean, it would probably make for a fun episode, but I'm telling you, man, it would make me cry to watch that movie. Straight through.
just laugh.
I think I shut it off after 15 minutes. I think I literally shut it off. And I've watched bad movies before, trust me. And if I shut something off, like it has to just hurt my soul.
Yeah, I would just laugh.
So I don't know, man. It's killing me. But like I said, sometimes if that's what the people want, you got to give the people what they want.
Absolutely.
So that's all we can do. And the other thing, were you a part of the conversation recently talking to, I think Travis and Gene and I don't know if it was in our talk or in one of our text messages. We got something else coming up that should be a lot of fun. I'll talk to you about it.
Why do you guys do this to me? Because you guys know I don't know anything.
No,
I
think you were in the conversation. You might not have been, but it was just something that was being talked about, and you'll enjoy it. Trust me, it's something good.
All right.
Okay.
I got you.
All right. You got anything else?
No, man. Just everybody, just continue to support us. Thank you for everything you guys are doing, all the fans out there, and hopefully we'll bring to you some more funny content. Just because Gene's not here, don't mean we're not gonna have a couple of one-liners. I'm sure we'll have some stuff pop off soon. So,
we'll come up with some stuff, of course.
Yeah.
All right. So, like Gene would say, I'll give Gene this one. Stay safe, stay strong. We'll holler at you all next week.
And director, play our music.
Disaster must come. At best, only postponed. Shaolin Kung Fu, to survive, must now be taught to more young men.